Just Baseball Show on SportsGrid and on YouTube and wherever you listen to your podcast. Jack McMullen, Peter Appel, who we brought to you by
BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. Remember, folks, download BetMGM, whether that be on iOS or Android, and use promo code JustBaseball. Why? First bet offer up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your first wager loses. For anyone betting MLB, NFL, college football, take the sportsbook offer when presented. It's not often you get these. Again, a reminder, code JustBaseball on BetMGM for that first bet offer up to $1,500. Just remember, gambling problem, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 21 years or older. Terms and conditions apply. Loaded show.
Loaded Show. Got a lot to get to. We're going to start with the two teams that already clinched postseason spots. Those are the Milwaukee Brewers and the Philadelphia Phillies. Also, the injury bug is starting to bite teams where it may have postseason implications. That is literally the worst thing ever in baseball, but we are going to talk about it and dissect it. Peter likes a certain team in terms of a World Series future. That comes about the midway point of the show here. And then we've got some notable debuts, Bryce Eldridge in San Francisco and Trey Savage in Toronto, that we will bring Aram on the very back end of the show to discuss. But I do want to start with the two teams that have clinched postseason berths. And what I want to do there is really highlight what they have done this season. We're also going to talk about the teams that have officially been eliminated and one thing to look forward to in 2026 after the fact. I want to start with the best team in baseball who clinched a postseason berth in the Milwaukee Brewers. Milwaukee is in. As we talk right now on Monday of this week, they are 91-59. In terms of the wild card standings, it doesn't even matter. They're fine. They're going to get a first-round bye. But in terms of the division, they're 5.5 up on the Chicago Cubs. It seems like a foregone conclusion that the Milwaukee Brewers are winning the National League Central, and they are the team of destiny. Before we get into the nitty-gritty on-field stuff and how they have gotten to this point, I do want to highlight Pat Murphy reading the note that Bob Uecker left in the clubhouse with champagne in his hand, because before I even listened to the note that Uecker left for them, I got goosebumps. Just knowing that he said, okay, you know what? Before I pass, I'm going to sit down and pen a letter to the team that is supposed to be opened the next time that they clinch a postseason berth. He left that for Mark Atanasio, the owner of the Milwaukee Brewers, and it was hilarious. It was thoughtful. It was Bob Uecker. And Pat Murphy reading it to that clubhouse was just poetic. This team has something incredibly special going on, and I really feel like it's no coincidence that they're doing this for Uecker in a sense this year.
Well, let's talk about the special magic that's on the field. The Brewers on Saturday, their 11th walk-off win, 11 in a season. And that win in particular was so strong, and it made me think, all right, I'm running out of excuses to say why the Brewers won't win the World Series. I'm going to talk about an American League betting future later, but the Brewers have just been so incredible all season long, and I thought Saturday was a perfect example. You find out that you clinch. How often do we see teams, once they clinch a playoff berth, come out flat? We talked about it in the roundup. Happens all the time. It's very natural, right? A team celebrates, they come out, the games don't really matter as much, and they lay down and they lose that game. And for most of it, it looked like that. The Cardinals got out to a 6-1 lead. What happens to most teams at a 6-1 lead after clinching? You're done. But the Brewers fight, tied it, then tied it again in the ninth once the Cardinals got another run, a 3-run comeback in the bottom of the ninth. Then the Cardinals score again in extra innings. So many opportunities to lay down, and the Brewers didn't. And they won 9-8, winning that series against a division rival. They pitch. They have this incredible trio of Freddie Peralta, who's been one of the best pitchers in baseball, period. Brandon Woodruff, since he came back from injury, has been pitching like an ace. And Quinn Priester, ever since he went to Milwaukee, is one of the great ground ball artists. They're going to get back Trevor McGill in the bullpen, one of the best closers in baseball, an all-star. But even with injuries, they've been totally fine. Jackson Chourio hasn't been healthy for a lot of the first half. What has he done in the second half? a 174 WRC plus, meaning he's 74% better than a league average hitter. Find me the hole. Aram and I were talking again on Monday's episode. The hole is Joey Ortiz's bat because Caleb Durbin has developed at third base. Joey Ortiz already plays good defense, but that's the one hole. Your 9 hitters bat isn't great. They're so good top to bottom, and they have a special magic about them. It's an incredible team.
And I think my favorite part about this is when Quinn Priester comes on the show, he doesn't regress in the slightest. I feel like we haven't done that to players. Like, they don't regress after coming on the Just Baseball show, but it almost seems like Quinn has leveled up to a certain extent. So I'm pretty fired up about that for Quinn Priester. You're right. If there is one weakness, it is the bat of the 9 hitter. And if you're going to handpick a weakness for a team, it's probably going to be the bat of the 9 hitter. It might be the bat of the bench bats, but like, I don't really care if that's the case. And oh, by the way, they have a consensus top 3 farm system in Major League Baseball. This is a well-oiled machine that is going to just churn out 90-win seasons constantly moving forward.
Constantly. And you look at the bench, too. It's still a good bench.
Yeah, it's good. Like, there are some roster pinches where there are guys where it's like, oh, they should probably not be in AAA. They should probably be in the big leagues. But, I mean, is there space for some of these guys? Like, the hero on Saturday was Andrew Monasterio. Come on.
Put up one of the best at-bats of the season. Just battling in the 9th against one of the Cardinals' bullpen arms on the 9th pitch of the AB, doubles in the winning run. That's your bench bat. Putting up 9-pitch ABs in the bottom of the 10th inning. That's what the Brewers do. Special type of magic.
I want to spend some time on the Philadelphia Phillies, who also clinched a postseason berth on Sunday. Philadelphia is 89-61 as we speak right now. They're winners of 8 of 10. Meanwhile, the Mets, in second place in the National League East, are losers of 8 of 10. They did salvage with a walk-off win on Sunday, but Philly is 12 up on the New York Mets. They clinched a postseason berth. The NL East division title is coming in a matter of days. What an unbelievable stretch it has been on both sides. I would say the Mets slide and the Philly boom happening at the same time to put this division out of reach. Because when New York swept Philadelphia in New York, what were we saying? We were saying, oh, this division's real. Since then, it's been anything but real. Congratulations to the Philadelphia Phillies. They are built for October success. You could say, well, there's no Wheeler in there anymore. I understand. Did you see what Buehler did? And I understand that Aaron Nola got shelled his last time out. Did you see what Buehler did? There's a chance that it's Sanchez, Suarez, Luzardo, Buehler in the postseason. If they want to condense to 3, Buehler as a weapon out of the bullpen, Duran closing out games in the bank. The first Red October for Yohan Duran is going to give me chills.
It's going to be one of the greatest walkouts of a closer in a long time. He has one of the greatest walkout songs going right now in Major League Baseball with those Phillies fans screaming at the top of their lungs. I need to be at Citizens Bank for when he enters during a closing situation, and he's probably going to get a lot of them. Dave Dombrowski, I want to give him a lot of credit. What a deadline. I mean, it wasn't super, super flashy, right? You bring in Duran and you bring in Bader. In the second half, Harrison Bader has been the best hitter on the Phillies. And that is not being mean, right, to the other Phillies bats who maybe haven't done well. Bryson Stott's hitting over 300. Brandon Marsh is hitting over 300. Kyle Schwarber has 21 home runs in the second half. Bryce Harper is still Bryce Harper. They have plenty of great bats. But Harrison Bader is hitting 350 in the second half with a WRC plus above 160, meaning 60% better than a league average hitter. So the offense is operating on all cylinders right now. You have those horses at the front. And I still have some questions about the middle innings of the bullpen. But what I do know is Sanchez and Suarez are, and you really can count them on maybe 1 or 2 hands, the pitchers in the postseason that could go 6+, 7+ innings. They got 2 of them. So that's what makes me bullish. So yes, I'm not in love with their 6-inning arm. He might not come in that many times because Sanchez and Suarez are going to get them 7. So it's a dangerous team once again in Philly.
Dude, I look forward to seeing what Philadelphia can do during the postseason. I also look forward to seeing what Milwaukee can do during the postseason. And there is a world, I know the Dodgers exist, there is a world where Philly and Milwaukee are 2-3 in terms of postseason odds as to who is lifting up the Commissioner's Trophy at season's end. We're going to talk about the eliminated teams in a moment, right here on the Just Baseball Show.
Aaron Rodgers, 2-year stint with the Jets that he'll never want to remember when he goes into the Hall of Fame. He'll just say, please don't mention that. Now he's with Pittsburgh, and he had his best game since Green Bay. Is it 5, right? Am I right about that, Sam? I don't want to screw this up, too. 4 touchdown passes. Yeah, I'm screwing up again. 4 touchdown passes against the New York Jets. Buy or sell, Aaron Rodgers will finish the season as a QB1 in a 12-team league, top 12 fantasy quarterback. Buy or sell.
You know, the cop-out here is he stays healthy at Jets, right? He'll do it. It's not asking a lot, top 12. Purdy's already not going to be top 12, right? He's already going to miss this week, probably another week, maybe as much as 5, they've said. So you knock him out there. There'll be other quarterbacks that get hurt, so you knock them out. I don't think he'd ever get top 5, top 6, top 8. But the 9 to 12, I hate to say it, he wasn't bad last year with the Jets, right? They didn't win games, but he wasn't bad. He had it when he played. He was a good, solid quarterback. You know, he can still sling it. He still can. I'm the first to admit those 4 touchdowns. It wasn't like he had a monster game. A couple of his interceptions were dropped. You know, that should have been picked off there. It seems like he did complete work for touchdowns. A couple of breakdowns by the Jets as well. So I don't see him really as going to win a league for you. But I'm going to buy this. If he stays healthy, hell, just give me 15 games. And I think he can be top 12. So I'll buy this.
I'm going to sell it. Yeah. I mean, games against the Browns and games against the Ravens. And look, I don't know if the Jets defense is as bad as they've showed. If it is, then this may be his best game of the season. So, yeah, I'm going to sell. I think he's on the outside of this looking in.
Fantasy Sports Today. Fridays starting at 3 p.m. Eastern. Only on SportsGrid.
Just Baseball Show, Jack McMullen, Peter Appel. We just talked about the 2 teams that have officially clinched postseason berths in the Milwaukee Brewers and the Philadelphia Phillies. Now we want to talk about the eliminated teams. You have the list in front of you. I'm going to play the world's smallest violin while you read us a dramatic reading of the teams that are officially eliminated from postseason play at this point.
The Chicago White Sox will not be making the playoffs, unfortunately, this season. The Colorado Rockies are definitely not making the postseason this year after one of the worst performances by any professional sports team. Yep, we're not just looking at baseball, by any professional sports team ever. The Washington Nationals, the rebuild continues, not making the playoffs. And the Minnesota Twins, who I said at the beginning of the season have a good shot of winning this division and the betting favorite to win the American League Central, aren't. Minnesota Twins, you are eliminated, but there are some bright spots to look forward to next year. It's not all bad with these 4 teams. You want me to break into them?
Yeah, break in.
The Chicago White Sox, we'll start with them. Since the All-Star break, the 10th highest WRC plus as an offense. Kyle Teal, Chase Mydroth, Colson Montgomery, Miguel Vargas, Lenine Sosa, Edgar Caro. That's right. I just named 6 or 7 guys who are all above average hitters in the second half, and all of them are young. Colson Montgomery has displayed massive power. Kyle Teal has been the best of the bunch with a 147 WRC plus. You got Chase Mydroth, who's hitting close to 300, displaying great on-base skills with a 383 OBP. Lenine Sosa's supplanted tons of power, as has Miguel Vargas. And Edgar Caro is just as solid of a young catcher as they come. So at least White Sox fans can look towards the future and say, all right, we got a nucleus of an offense. And that doesn't even include some of the prospects that they haven't called up yet, right? Mydroth, Teal, both in that Garrett Crochet deal. And you also have Colson Montgomery, Braden Montgomery. So many Montgomerys, all of them raked, coming up for the White Sox. So going into next year, we got to figure out the pitching staff. They have a couple of arms like Shane Smith, who, are fun to watch, but we'll see what that looks like. The bullpen is obviously a work in progress, but they have a good core of bats.
You get excited about Shane Smith. You get excited about Hagen Smith getting right in 2026. You get excited about Noah Schultz getting right and debuting in 2026. And you get excited about Drew Thorpe coming off the shelf from Tommy John surgery in 2026. Kyle Teal is the second poster boy to me of this because he had an 881 OPS after the All-Star break. And in just over 40 games, he's hitting just under 310 with 7 homers. He's raking right now. And now I'm going to do a dramatic reading. The home run leaders since the All-Star break. Kyle Schwarber is number 1. The Philadelphia Phillies slugger has 22 home runs since the All-Star break.
He's pretty good.
Junior Caminero is number 2 with the Tampa Bay Rays. He is trending towards 50 homers all of a sudden. He has 21 home runs since the All-Star break.
He's no Will Wagner, but he's solid.
Tied for 3rd, Shea Langoliers of the Athletics and Colson Montgomery of the Chicago White Sox with 18 home runs. For reference, tied for 5th, Joe Adell of the Angels, Shohei Ohtani of the Dodgers, and Juan Soto of the Mets. And tied for 8th, Willie Adames in San Francisco, Bryce Harper in Philly, Cal Raleigh in Seattle, Julio Rodriguez in Seattle, and Giancarlo Stanton in New York. That's elite company for Colson Montgomery to be smack dab in the middle of right now.
Should we talk about the Rockies?
Let's talk about the Rocks.
So I deserve a pay raise for trying to find something good about the Colorado Rockies, but
it's easy. No, it's really easy. There's a lot of good things to find.
I was almost joking, but no, I agree with you. It is kind of easy. You found your catcher of the future in Hunter Goodman. 850 OPS this year with 30 home runs as a 25-year-old. Now, there are some plate discipline concerns to clean up. Chases a lot, swings and misses a lot, doesn't walk a lot. But when this guy makes contact, he is a force. Also, something good to note, because we got to look at these Rockies hitters a little bit differently, right? Because it's so easy to hit at Coors Field, and then, you know, you go on the road, you got to adjust to a lack of altitude, and sometimes it kills your numbers. It's understandable. But Goodman hasn't had those issues. Yeah, he's a little bit better at home. He's got an 888 OPS at home. 810 on the road. 17 of his 30 home runs have come on the road as well. A 25-year-old with an OPS at 850 hitting 30 home runs. I think any team would want that as their 25-year-old catcher of the future. The Rockies have a good one here.
They do. Hunter Goodman is the big takeaway. Goodman was their all-star representative. I also want to shout out Chase Dollander. And I say that not from the perspective of the season as a whole, because in 11 starts at Coors Field, he's got an ERA 2 ticks under 10 at 9.98. In 46 innings, that's 51 earned runs. And then on the road, 10 starts, 52 innings, a 3.46 ERA. Opponents are hitting 200 away from home against him compared to 337 at home. All they got to do is move a couple hundred feet lower than where they are right now, and Chase Dollander could be an all-star and contend for a Cy Young Award. He's that talented. He's just got a really rough home ballpark.
Rough home ballpark and rough defense behind him too.
Yeah.
Right? Because what makes Coors Field so great for hitters, it's not that it's just this tiny ballpark, right? Where, you know, home runs just fly out. No, it's the outfield is so big. So many balls fall that in other stadiums, the outfielders could run down because there isn't as much real estate in that outfield. So you got a not so great defense outside of Bretton Doyle, but Bretton Doyle hasn't even had that great of a defensive year. In the second half, he's been better, but in the front half, he was injured and not playing as well as he could. And then, of course, you got other guys in that outfield who aren't exactly helping Dollander. So you combine it with the park and the bad defense and a team that's not motivated and the altitude. Like, I could totally understand why Dollander would not have a good season at home.
Yeah, we got 2 more eliminated teams. We got a minute left on this block. So give me one, and then we'll save one for the second part of this.
It's the Nationals. They got another iron in the fire in Dalen Lyle. Because we know James Wood is awesome. We expect guys like Dylan Cruz and, you know, plenty of other their young guys to step up. But I don't think they expected Dalen Lyle to be a part of the core. In the second half, he is slashing 331, 383, 540 as a 22-year-old. Gives him a 154 WRC plus. That's 54% better than a league average hitter. Dalen Lyle, good young player.
Really good young player. I have loved watching Dalen Lyle over the last couple of weeks. The Marlins have seen the Washington Nationals a lot. Lyle can really swing it. There are steps to be made defensively, but he's a very good athlete. He's a very good base runner. who's to say he can't get better in the outfield? And you have Lyle, Cruz, and James Wood in the outfield. You're starting to cook with some serious gas. Thankfully, the shoulder issue is not that big of an issue for Mackenzie Gore. You have your frontline starter going into next year. We are going to talk about the Twins. We're also going to talk about Peter's new World Series bet in a moment, but we'll be right back.
They have Boise State, they have Arkansas, they have USC. There's no shot in Purdue. Those are the only big games that they have the rest of the way. They're not getting back into the college football playoff. They're not, Donnie. I don't care if they've won 10 straight.
Remember when they lost to NIU? No way, no care. What happens the rest of the season? They can't get in. Who was in the college football championship last year?
But they had marquee wins at some point
I don't care. They lost to NIU.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
I needed a mental break when the season was over. Because it's a lot. It's a lot. You get tired of training. But, man, I never get tired of playing golf. I love it. I mean, every course is different. Every day is different. And some days you're like, oh, I got this. I got it. Then you go out there and shoot a 95 the next day. I'm like, damn.
The Smiley Show. Only on SportsGrid.
I mean, I think so. You talk about how difficult it is to bring an expansion team into the league and have success in your first season. Like, that's fairly unheard of. And not only have success, but they're in the playoffs. So I think she certainly deserves to win Coach of the Year. There's a lot of different candidates that could potentially, you could make a case for them. But I think just with this being an expansion team and how difficult that is.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
It was nice to see that even though they couldn't follow the same blueprint as last season, or just the way that everyone thought their offense was going to run this year, Josh Jacobs struggled and Jordan Love stepped up. And if you're a Packer fan, that's what you were hoping to see, is that in the moments where you can't rely on the run, can the quarterback that you invested a lot of money into, now draft capital, putting weapons around him, rise to the occasion, and he did.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Just Baseball Show, Jack McMullen, Peter Appel. We were just talking about a silver lining for 3 of the 4 teams that have been officially eliminated. We gave you the White Sox, we gave you the Rockies, we gave you the Washington Nationals. What is your silver lining for Minnesota Twins fans?
Luke Keyshaw, great young player. In the second half, he's slashing .307, .376, .450 with 4 home runs and 8 stolen bases. But the reason I love him so much, besides everything I just talked about, only striking out 13.4% of the time. You just rarely see that with young guys thrust into a big league role. And he just turned 23 a month ago. You know, he's had some defensive miscues, which happen with these really young players, but he is a solid defender. This is just a young player that the Twins can build around. And of course, now they're pretty much in a rebuild. They need him.
Luke Keyshaw is a really good shout. I like that one. There's enough here to also get moderately excited for next season. Unfortunately, some of it is on the farm. I do like the idea of another year where Walker Jenkins should be making his major league debut and Emmanuel Rodriguez should be in the fold pretty much full time, assuming health for Minnesota. So they've got young, exciting bats to complement Luke Keyshaw. Keyshaw just happened to be the first one to get to the big leagues. And oh, by the way, Byron Buxton wants to be there. So you got Buxton here as well. Buxton is experiencing the best year that he's had in a very long time, maybe in the entirety of his career. Byron Buxton in 114 games this season, hitting .270 with 31 jacks. He's 22 for 22 in the stolen base department, and he's got an .888 OPS. The other thing that really excites me, you get Mick Abel. I know he's really, really struggled in his first 2 appearances with Minnesota, but Abel is into the fold. Eduardo Tait immediately became your top flight catching prospect. And, of course, Joe Ryan is still here as well. He's thrown 160 innings at a 3.35 ERA. This one is the easiest good picture for me to paint personally. But let's pivot to your World Series future here. What you got on that front?
Let me paint a different picture. So the American League is wide open, but I think the wrong team is favored in the betting market. And I think now in particular is the perfect time to jump in. So for all of my MLB futures, I rely on the BatX projections made by Derek Carty, which you can find on Fangraphs. And I quote, "The BatX has been recognized as the most accurate original season-long projection system in fantasy baseball studies for 5 consecutive years." So if you go to Fangraphs and looked at the projected standings, they have a World Series projection tab that breaks each team's chances into a percentage, which we then can convert to betting odds. The Yankees have the most value of any team, sitting at just 12.8%, which means the implied odds should be about plus 680. Now, it's not just that one. I double check, use other projection systems. And the BatX is actually one of the lowest. ATC, another really strong Fangraphs projection system, sits at 13.7%, closer to plus 630. The Yankees betting odds right now to win the World Series are plus 950. So based on that, you're getting about a 300-cent price difference. But those are just projections. Let's actually talk about the baseball side of it. Remember the defensive issues? A lot of concerns in New York. I'm not as concerned as I was. Volpe seems to have lost the shortstop role to Jose Caballero, who's a much better defensive player. He has a 130 WRC plus with the Yankees with 12 stolen bases in 31 games. Leads all of Major League Baseball in steals with 46. With Stanton back, Dominguez in left doesn't play that much anymore. The outfield defense is Judge, Bellinger, and Grisham. Ryan McMahon now plays third. He's in the 87th percentile of outs above average. Now, Ben Rice isn't a great defensive catcher, but that's where they're at their weakest. An average framer and blocker by the numbers. And the Yankees rotation is the only one with 2 pitchers who have thrown at least 175 innings this year with an ERA below 3.15 in Max Fried and Carlos Rodon. Luis Gil has found it lately, 0.75 ERA in the month of September, and Cam Schlittler has pitched to a 3.05 ERA since he came up. The Yankees have the best WRC plus of any team, slugged the most by a sizable margin, lead in slug, lead in home runs, 254 home runs to the Dodgers at 217. They have the second best run differential, only trailing the Brewers, 25 runs better than second place Red Sox. Bullpen is still a question mark. I get it. But what team is perfect right now in Major League Baseball? And the reason I'm going with the Yankees, you never really find them when they're undervalued. Half the fan base doesn't like them. The rest of MLB still hates them. And jump in now. The rest of their schedule, Twins, Orioles, White Sox, and then the Orioles. They just took 2 of 3 from the Blue Jays, 2 of 3 from the Astros, and 2 of 3 from the Red Sox. Tough part of their schedule is done. Yankees are winning the World Series, or at least I think it's a good bet right now.
It's all a moot point because you grew up a Yankees fan.
Yes, I understand. I understand that I am biased, and that's why I wanted to bring all that. So if you disagree with that analysis, fine, don't take it. Yes, I am a Yankee fan. It has nothing to do with my bias.
I'm totally kidding. It's very, very strong analysis, and the picture is painted. And in a wide open American League, you have no idea who's going to get through. And at the end of the day, it's just 7 games. All you got to do is win 4 before the other team wins 4 in the Fall Classic. And I'm not saying that, it's foolproof that it's a total crapshoot going into the World Series, but it's a little bit more matter of chance than you would expect it to be. It's not like the better team wins every single time when you do get to the World Series. So it makes a lot of sense. Unfortunately, we got to get to the injury bug. That does include a Yankee in a moment. Before that, a quick break on the Just Baseball Show.
I pitched today. It's like 5 in the morning. We hammer it. He tells everyone, listen, I'm telling you guys, Esteban Loaiza is in no condition to pitch tonight. We all hammer it. We bet against the Toronto Blue Jays. We even went to the game, Scott, even. Esteban Loaiza, word of no lie, bro. He threw 8 innings, a one-hit ball.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
They trade Marina Mabry, then they turn around, and then obviously they fire Teresa Weatherspoon, and it's been a hot mess. You go and, draft Cardozo and Reese, basically 2 of the same player, meaning bigs that can't step out and shoot. So it's a little bit of a clown show when you talk about the Chicago Sky.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
He says, you can't get in a position, Tiger, Rory, Justin Thomas, those guys are this tall. You're never gonna be as flexible as them. You got a lot more leverage and like you got a lot of more moving parts in those dudes.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
I like the shadows coming in, Neyland Stadium. Show
High
me those
school,
3:30.
Joe,
Back
we
in the
played
day,
all our games on Saturdays. Maybe one or
Yeah.
two games on a Friday night away. I always loved that. Same thing in college.
yeah.
Hated Friday night football games in college.
I don't like. I understand why they do it prime time, and we have to play. But going back to when we grew up, Keith Jackson.
Yeah.
Action.
Throw another pancake on that plate. Yeah,
That's
let's go,
it.
Keith Jackson. That's my guy here.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Just Baseball Show, as always, presented by the beautiful people at BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. Jack McMullen, Peter Appel. We were just talking about Peter's new Yankees World Series future. He laid out why he loves it, and it makes a lot of sense to me personally. Again, the American League does feel pretty crapshoot-ish, and who's to say that the winner of the American League can't take down the Phillies if their lineup or if their rotation is not constructed perfectly, or they can't take down the Milwaukee Brewers, the LA Dodgers? They totally can. And again, it's not like the best team wins the World Series every year. It just happens to be the hottest team winning the World Series every year. And you got to get hot at the right time, and you got to keep that going through the month of October. You mentioned Anthony Volpe has effectively relinquished the shortstop job. For a long time, people believed it was Yip adjacent at shortstop, like why he was really struggling defensively. Jose Caballero has since taken over, but Anthony Volpe got a cortisone shot in his elbow or in his shoulder. Volpe is having some injury issues in his shoulder, and that has certainly bled into his 2025 campaign. Again, the offensive numbers, they look totally fine. Defensively, he was struggling. We might have a reason as to why. What do you make of the Volpe injury as it stands right now?
I have a lot of different thoughts. One, and the question that just continues to ring strong in my mind is, why was he playing through this? Why didn't we know sooner? Was he not telling? Was he saying, I have to fight through this? Did the Yankees know and just not deal with it? How did all of that happen? Because our eyes are telling us that this guy is simply not having a good year. And that's the nicest way to put it. He was a 3-win player last year. I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt. He was a Gold Glover, right? We knew he wasn't this great offensive piece, but at least he would hedge that with excellent defense and excellent base running. But not this year. He's been one of the worst defenders at the shortstop position. And it just kept going and going and going. And the way the Yankees would back him was basically telling us that nothing is wrong. Don't believe what you're seeing. But clearly there was something wrong. Was it the yips? Was it an injury? It's tough to know. But at least now the Yankees have Jose Caballero, who is a better defender. He's a better base runner. So the two things that Volpe was great at when healthy, Caballero is better at. And then on the offensive side, there's no discussion. Since Caballero became a Yankee, he's been 30% better than a league average hitter. He's stealing bases almost every other game. It's Caballero's job, even if they were both perfectly healthy, but it's clear Volpe is not. That's why I think this is Cabby's job, even though Boone won't come out and explicitly admit it.
I understand why you say that. Caballero is a guy that I have fallen in love with over the last couple of years. I fell in love with him in Tampa and in Seattle to a certain extent, but really it was after the Rayleigh Caballero flip and he was in Tampa. He kind of turned into the new Edmundo Sosa for me. For a while, I was saying every team wishes they had Edmundo Sosa, but only one team has him. And then I saw Caballero blossom, and I'm saying every team wishes they had Jose Caballero, but only Tampa has him. I thought that was a sneaky, awesome pickup at the deadline for Brian Cashman and the New York Yankees, because what he does is he provides this bedrock where at the very, very least, you know you're getting speed and defense. And it was tough because the first game after the deadline, he made that crucial error in right field. But guess what? He ain't playing right field anymore. He's at shortstop for the New York Yankees, and he's done a heck of a job. This is like if Andrew Velasquez could hit. Like I'm trying to think about the Yankee backfill shortstop nature over the last decade or so, really post Jeter, because Didi Gregorius was supposed to be the guy. Didi held it down for a little bit, and then he moved on. And then you guys tried to piecemeal it together for a while, until you got to Anthony Volpe. It was IKF for a while. That fan base strongly disliked IKF, which I find a little bizarre because IKF was totally fine. Again, the standard is ridiculous and unfair for Yankee shortstops. But Caballero is providing this bedrock that, frankly, Volpe wasn't this year. And I understand why you guys would want to run with Jose Caballero at shortstop.
Also, speaking about those expectations, I do feel like Jose Caballero is the first Yankee shortstop who doesn't have these incredibly high expectations. It's not Didi's fault, but when he came over, he was immediately the heir after
he was
Jeter.
Legitimately the heir to the Jeter throne. He was the first guy to play shortstop after Derek Jeter.
So there's going to be expectations there, kind of no matter what, because all Yankee fans miss Jeter. They're going to continually compare the two, whether it's fair or not. It just is the reality of the situation. Then Didi doesn't really work out. And there's all these great shortstops that Brian Cashman could have signed, but instead he goes with combinations of IKF, and we're waiting on Anthony Volpe. And Anthony Volpe is then heralded as this next great Jeter-esque shortstop. And clearly that hasn't materialized yet. So you go down the line. IKF, oh, he's this stopgap. What is this? Didi, he ain't like Jeter, not even close, even though he's had some great moments. And I know now after the fact, Yankee fans look on Didi fondly, but at the time, it certainly wasn't fondly. No. And now with Volpe, is he the most hated player by a team's own fan base in Major League Baseball?
Yes.
Maybe Devin Williams, another Yankee, right?
The Yankees are treating Volpe like Joey Gallo, and I find that so ridiculously unfair. But at the end of the day, it is playing shortstop for the New York Yankees. I'm not empathizing with the Yankee fan base at all. I'm really empathizing with Anthony Volpe because I think it's terrible that Volpe gets treated like that. But you know that pretty much every Yankee fan is looking at Caballero right now as another stopgap for George Lombard, who they're going to place identical expectations on to the ones they placed on Volpe.
Yeah, this time it's going to work with all those expectations.
Yeah, I know, obviously, right? He wore number 2 in AA this year. God.
Yeah, we were at the Futures game, and they were calling for Lombard to already get called up when he's hitting like 220 in the minors.
Nothing infuriates me more than Yankee fans' narrative around their shortstops. Like, honestly, nothing fires me up more in baseball than the Yankee shortstop conversation.
Yeah, I mean, we are who we are. I have Judge and Mariano behind me. It's clear I'm a Yankee fan. I'm not saying we're rational, but what I am saying is we think what we think, and we yell it loudly.
Whatever. Going to another major market. This one a little bit less encouraging here. Craig Counsell said Kyle Tucker is likely not coming off the injured list when the minimum stay required is over. Kyle Tucker eligible to come off the IL on Tuesday, dealing with a calf issue. Craig Counsell said a couple of days ago that is unlikely to be the case. We know calves are kind of the gateway to Achilles issues as well. So you got to be very, very careful with calf issues right now. Kyle Tucker, it has been a really rough stretch after he put together as strong a first half as really anyone in Major League Baseball. I feel for Kyle Tucker more than anything, this being his contract here and him swinging the bat as well as he did before the All-Star break. I also feel for Cubs fans because you really traded Cam Smith and Paredes and Wisniewski for one go at the whole shebang. And if that guy's hurt for your one go at the whole shebang, that's really unfortunate.
Incredibly unfortunate. And unfortunately, I don't have a silver lining for it. We just got to wait and see. The one silver lining that I can pull is on this same Cubs injury report. Daniel Palencia reportedly had a good throwing day per Craig Counsell. Now, I don't really know what that means, but he is set to return from the IL before the postseason begins. And all of the reports out of what's been happening with Palencia since he blew that save against the Nationals and went on the IL with a shoulder strain have been really positive. Michael Soroka had a really good rehab outing. Now, it was short. It was only a few innings, but the velocity was 95 to 96 on the fastball. He was spotting the breaking ball and struck out a bunch of guys in the minors. So you're going to get, hopefully, Palencia back. You're probably going to get back Michael Soroka sooner rather than later. But yes, Kyle Tucker is the big news, and deservedly so. He's one of the best players in baseball, and they need him if they want to make noise in the postseason.
Palencia is great. Soroka is good. They don't have the impact that Kyle Tucker would have on this team in the postseason. And again, if they do not figure out a way to bring back Kyle Tucker, that Cam Smith trade and that Isaac Paredes trade is going to haunt you. And there are going to be too many Cubs fans in 2026 and 2027 watching the Houston Astros and watching the Dodgers or the Giants or the Yankees or the Mets, whoever brings in Kyle Tucker, if it's not the Chicago Cubs. They're going to be watching Tucker shine elsewhere. They're also going to be watching Smith blossom in Houston and Paredes rake in Houston and saying, why on earth did we do that? The answer was this October, and it would really, really stink if Kyle Tucker did not play a major role in this October for the Chicago Cubs. We're going to keep on going. We got a whole bunch of other injuries to break down. We're going to kind of go rapid fire through those, but keep it locked right here, wherever you're listening, wherever you're watching, especially on SportsGrid, right here on the Just Baseball Show.
Outside of Port Rush, hard to imagine how it gets any better in terms of an individual year for Rory McIlroy. Just such good stuff from him.
Oh, totally. It's, it's kind of wild to me. You just go through that incredible list of venues that he's won at, and then, of course, throw in the Irish Open to be the fourth. It hit hard to believe that he has not won since April. And we talk about this incredible year that he's had.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
Who wants to go to Chicago in February for a Super Bowl? Hey, the NFL can host outdoor parties on Lake Michigan. Stop the madness at this point. But now I take a look at the Denver Broncos. Always fun in the Mile High City. Why? Because what a home field advantage. It's at elevation. It's going to be cold. It might snow, and Denver's going to have that advantage. You know what Denver goes? We're going to build a world-class facility that's going to be a dome.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. SportsGrid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are for winners. Only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
Continuing our injury conversation on the Just Baseball Show. That is Peter Appel. I'm Jack McMullen. We just talked about Anthony Volpe, who got a cortisone shot in his shoulder, and Kyle Tucker, who is not expected to come off the injured list after the minimum stay with a calf issue on Tuesday. A couple other guys that I want to talk about. Will Smith of the Dodgers, Bo Bichette of the Blue Jays, Tarek Skubal of the Tigers. I want to start with Skubal. Skubal started in Miami. I had the radio call that one for the Marlins. And it was Skubal and Sandy. And in no world could I have told you that on Friday night in Miami, 10 runs were going to be scored in a Skubal-Sandy game. The way Sandy has been shoving, the way Skubal is just Tarek Skubal. Skubal got clipped a little bit. Augustine Ramirez hitting a 111-mile-an-hour homer against him in the first inning. Tarek Skubal, the line on him was 3 1/3 a 4-run baseball, but he did, after allowing a fly ball out, lift his left arm up and start digging in his rib cage. Like, you could clearly tell something was up. So he called the trainers out. He called manager A.J. Hinch out. They did a quick look at him. They massaged the left side, and Skubal immediately walked off the mound and walked down into the clubhouse. And the baseball world as a collective just held their breath for about 15 hours, 20 hours, because you had no idea if the possible back-to-back Cy Young Award winner in the American League was going to have his season cut short. And you wonder, okay, what does that mean for Detroit, obviously? What does that mean for Tarek Skubal, who is throwing as well as anybody in the American League since Pedro Martinez? He's aiming to become the first back-to-back Cy Young Award winner in the American League since Pedro Martinez in 99 and 2000. That's a long, long time ago. That's 2.5 decades. Thankfully, Skubal's imaging came back clean, and A.J. Hinch said he is expected to make his next start. That comes at home against the Cleveland Guardians this week. Short throwing on Monday, and then we'll see what happens after that. But they avoided disaster with Tarek Skubal. What were your emotions when you saw Skubal was lifted from the game in the 4th inning on Friday?
Heart drop.
Yeah.
Because all I can think about is Tigers fans, all of them gasping. Like, I feel like you could hear the collective gasp from the city of Detroit, a few towns over in Michigan.
Yes.
But luckily, he's totally fine. And if you look at the betting odds, we talked about this yesterday for the Cy Young, BetMGM has not made really any changes. It is still Scooble's award to lose. They're giving him about a 95% chance of winning this Cy Young. So it's basically all wrapped up. The Tigers are in a good position to be able to handle this. They're 6.5 games up in the division. They can be extra careful. They can put kid gloves on him until the rest of the season. He's thrown already plenty of innings this year. Tarek Skubal is the most important player, I think, in the entire playoffs. I mean, look at the Tigers. They are led by this guy.
Yeah.
Their rotation is suspect. And if Skubal's firing on all cylinders, which I think he will come postseason, they're going to be totally fine because he is the best pitcher in the postseason. And it's good to hear all of the good news.
Yes. Unfortunately, not as much good news as it pertains to Bo Bichette in Toronto. Bichette had a knee on shin guard collision with Austin Wells at the plate when the Blue Jays were taking on the New York Yankees, and Bichette was placed on the IL with a knee sprain. It's a little nerve-wracking. He was placed on the IL, just a couple of days ago, but they're reevaluating after his minimum IL stint comes to a close. Bo Bichette, you really hope he's back by the beginning of October. Knee sprains are really finicky, especially when you've dealt with leg issues over the last 365 days. That's what really kind of quelled Bo Bichette's 2024 campaign.
So similarly to the Kyle Tucker conversation about the Cubs, there's no silver lining I can say. There have been no positive reports out of Blue Jays camp about Bo Bichette. It's just a wait-and-see game. But the one silver lining is that they're getting better on other sides. Addison Barger put up an incredible first half. And in the second half, he really struggled, especially in August. Aram talked about it yesterday, 583 OPS. But in September, he's getting better and better. So if you add that first half back into the lineup, that can hedge some of the Bichette concerns. Another hedge, Anthony Santander. He's playing rehab games. He's hitting for power. Remember, he was their big signing on the offensive side this offseason, and he's had a really tough year in his first year in Toronto. He hasn't played well. He's been injured. But can he provide an offensive spark in the postseason? So, yes, we're on a wait-and-see track with Bichette, but Barger is heating up. Joey Loporfido, Ernie Clement, Nathan Lucas, all these guys are doing their part in the back end, and you're bringing back Anthony Santander, and Vladdy and Springer have just been awesome in the second half. This Blue Jays team can still hit, but Bichette is huge, no doubt about it.
Bichette is massive. Bo Bichette is third in all of baseball with a .311 batting average. He is the hit leader in Major League Baseball with 181, and who's tracking towards 200 base hits. He also leads all of Major League Baseball with 44 doubles, so you are hoping that you get Bo Bichette back for the postseason. Last guy I want to talk about real quick is Will Smith, the catcher for the LA Dodgers. Smith, at the beginning of this month, suffered a bone bruise against the Pittsburgh Pirates on his hand. He sat for a while. He came back, and now he's on the IL for that hand issue. It really felt like the whole threading the needle thing just backfired on the Dodgers, which is really unfortunate. And you're hoping that 10 days of nothing and no receiving is okay, and he's back and ready to at least hit in the postseason, because this guy has been one of the best hitters in baseball this year.
No silver lining, unfortunately. So let's find others. Dalton Rushing can slot in as the catcher, right? He's their top prospect. He can at least hedge some of those concerns. Ben Rortvedt
had a good day on Saturday.
Rortvedt as well. And Tyler Glasnow spoke glowingly about him in one of his best starts of the season, the way, their relationship has grown since he came over to LA. Tommy Edman is back, who's huge, won an NLCS MVP for them just last year. Max Muncy comes back, then gets hit in the head and on the wrist. But luckily, he's not going to miss much time. So you get Muncy back, you get Edman back. Dalton Rushing and Rortvedt can slot in for the time being. So Will Smith, again, we'll see. But the Dodgers are pretty damn good. I'm sure they'll be fine.
think they're going to be totally fine. But again, the injuries that we just went over, Will Smith of the Dodgers dealing with a hand issue, Bo Bichette of the Blue Jays dealing with a knee sprain, Tarek Skubal of the Tigers, he was digging into his rib cage. It sounds like he's fine after left side tightness. We also talked about Kyle Tucker and his calf issue, and then Anthony Volpe getting a cortisone shot in his shoulder. Peter, smell you later. You got 15 seconds. Parting words before we get to debuts with Aram?
Go Yankees, plus 950. That's all I'm saying. It ain't biased. It's a numbers play. It's value. Go get it on BetMGM.
Ooh. All right, 2 debuts we got to talk about. Bryce Eldridge with the San Francisco Giants and Trey Yesavage with the Toronto Blue Jays. We're doing a quick line change at the tail end. Stay with us. Just Baseball Show concludes next.
Look at the weather, try to look for some anytime touchdowns or maybe some props that you really feel confident about. But it's always the time for urgency, especially for a team like the New York Giants. I think that defense is something that can give Giants fans hope. And then if you get Dart under center, it's hope. And then if you can get Scatterboo out there and the whole building's going boo, it's hope. And as we know, hope works.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
If you're in the Super Bowl market, if you're in the futures market, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill is heavily connected to the Kansas City Chiefs. I am sure it would be Tyreek's first place if he could pick to go back to. At least I would think it would be. And the Chiefs have a need, and the Chiefs are interested, and they're not worried about any of his other question marks.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Oh, Johnny, then you don't believe in face recognition, do you? Because I can assure you. Oh, yes, they do. They absolutely do. They will find that guy in a heartbeat. And by the way, why would you want to go to Vegas? You want to talk about facial red? They won't let you step in a casino. They won't let you step anywhere in
The
there.
Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
There's a little bit of a kerfluffle earlier today when there's an exception taken to a punt that wasn't given, and just the reactions were pretty unilateral from both sides of like, hey, that's not behavior that we're going to tolerate at this type of competition.
Can you talk to me about kerfluffle again? Can you run that word back? I've never heard that word before.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
Just Baseball Show is coming to a close. You're not Peter Appel. You're Aram Leighton. We did a little line change for a couple of debuts for the final 6 minutes of this show. 2 guys that could factor into postseason races over the course of the final 2 weeks of the regular season are up in the big leagues. Trey Yesavage of the Toronto Blue Jays and Bryce Eldridge of the San Francisco Giants. I want to start with Trey Yesavage. Yesavage comes up for a Blue Jays team that is leading the American League East and currently holds on to the top American League seed, so they are in line for a first-round bye. They would not have to play the wild card series. Yesavage was the 20th overall pick by Toronto last year out of East Carolina, and Yesavage has been as intriguing in arm as we have in minor league baseball this season. 7 starts in low A, 4 in high A, 8 appearances in double A, 6 appearances in triple A. 98 innings. He's punched out 160 guys. That's 15 strikeouts per 9. And oh, by the way, he's got a 3.12 ERA. Funny thing during his media availability, Yesavage was asked about how he found out. And he said the manager in Buffalo called him in and said, you've got 2 options. You can either shut down throwing this year, or you can go to Toronto and join the big league club. And he said, I feel like that was probably the better decision for my career was to go to Toronto. What are Blue Jays fans and the Blue Jays getting from Yesavage?
I mean, I know people love the way that he competes on the mound, so I think they're really going to enjoy that. But how about just one of the more dominant pitchers this year that we've had in minor league baseball? And it's interesting because they have been managing his innings a little bit, right? You look at really since he's got to AAA, and since you look at the futures game when he threw during the All-Star break, he has not exceeded 5 innings since then. And they really haven't let him go much more than 50 pitches in the last 3 outings, but I think that was maybe with this in mind, because before that he was going 83 pitches a couple times in a row there. But the pitch mix is just so fun to watch because it's this super high over the top release, which I actually think will be the highest release in Major League Baseball when he gets up there. If not, it'll be a close second. But then also from that release point, a really nasty 3-pitch mix. He gets great vert on the fastball. Despite it being such a high release point, that vert still plays up. And then working off of that, it's just a tunneling nightmare for hitters where you've got the splitter diving straight down below that, and it really plays up from his release point. And then a gyro slider, that means it's working much more up and down as well. So the vertical tunnel there is just like, it is a very difficult at bat for hitters. It makes him effective against both lefties and righties. Just a quick little like statistical dive. Opponents are hitting 220 against his fastball, 200 against his slider with a 570 OPS, and 059 against his splitter with a 260 OPS. And he throws it 22% of the time. That pitch has been one of the best pitches in minor league baseball, and it's because of that high release off of the high carry fastball. The splitter is just disgusting.
To note, 2 of his 6 appearances in AAA came out of the bullpen. I had heard that is a possibility for Yesavage, where he is effectively a piggyback, and that could be the case in October. You see Yesavage throw innings 4 through 6, and then he's out of the game to get to leverage.
I like that because if there's one question that we have about the Jays, it's that bullpen, and maybe he can allow you to bridge in some of the outings that your top guys, your starters don't throw that well, and then you can save the leverage arms a little bit longer for that higher leverage. And I think him in shorter spurts would be pretty fun to watch because maybe that fastball ticks closer to it averaged 94.5 on the year. Maybe it's closer to 96, 97 with the adrenaline as well. And then that splitter is going to just dominate off of it. So I love the pitch mix. I love that they're bringing him up. And I think he's a guy that absolutely can help them this year. The big question is just the command. But if you're using him in 2-3 inning spurts, I don't think that matters as much.
We got about 2 minutes left. San Francisco is a game and a half out of the final wild card spot. All right. The Mets have dropped 8-10. Did get a walk-off win on Sunday, but San Francisco has held their ground. They're a game over 500, game and a half back. And Bryce Eldridge is coming up for them. 20-year-old first baseman, 16th overall pick in 2023. Eldridge this year between AA and AAA, hitting 260 with 25 homers, 84 driven in, and slugging over 500. Why did Eldridge make sense for San Francisco right now?
It's funny because a few weeks ago, the reports were, hey, he may not get up this year. I think they may have him focus and just lock in AAA. Giants start winning a lot of ball games. And also Bryce Eldridge starts raking. I mean, and he was doing well this year, but when you look at since the start of August, that's August 1st, he has an 890 OPS. Over his last 25 games, he's got that strikeout rate to about 26, 27%. And has been mashing as well. So he comes up at a point where Dom Smith hits the IL, team is getting closer to the playoffs, and he's swinging it really well. Why not bring up the number 16 prospect in baseball for us?
So, okay, I want to pivot it, and this your final thing real quick. Bryce Eldridge, is he a net positive for the San Francisco Giants? Because we've talked a lot about the whole baby giraffe deal. Is this an opportunity for him to get his feet wet, or did the Giants get better?
There's a lot of swing and miss, and I think there's a chance that he is overmatched. But I also think that there's a chance that he gets up there and provides power in the lineup and gets hot that you just would not be able to add in a position like this. So I think it's understandably a coin flip for a 20-year-old who's 6'7", but he has the capability of pushing your offense up to another level, and I think that's enough for the Giants to roll the dice.
100% against San Francisco, a game and a half out. This has been the Just Baseball Show. It was Peter for the majority, but Aram, humongous closing act from you. He got the save on this show. We will talk to you on SportsGrid next week.
If you're in the Super Bowl market, if you're in the futures market, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill is heavily connected to the Kansas City Chiefs. I am sure it would be Tyreek's first place if he could pick to go back to. At least I would think it would be. And the Chiefs have a need, and the Chiefs are interested, and they're not worried about any of his other question marks.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
51-0, Donnie. Yeah. Those numbers don't lie. Georgia, every time they rush for over 200 yards, that's dating back from 2017 against FCS and FBS opponents. They don't lose. The 2 years that they won back-to-back national championships, year one, they rushed for over 208 times. Year two, when they beat TCU, that year they rushed for over 206 times.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
look at the weather, try to look for some anytime touchdowns or maybe some props that you really feel confident about. But it's always the time for urgency, especially for a team like the New York Giants. I think that defense is something that can give Giants fans hope. And then if you get Dart under center, it's hope. And then if you can get Scatterboo out there and the whole building's going boo, it's hope. And as we know, hope works.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid. It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. SportsGrid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are for winners. Only on SportsGrid.
Pro Football Today on SportsGrid is with you with a lot to get to. I'm Kevin Walsh, not alone, of course. My man Joe Lisi is here as well. And today's theme, Joe, unfortunately, is going to be injuries to the quarterback position.
Yeah, I saw 3 of them last night, right? With J.J. going down, Burrow, and now the injury news to Jaden Daniels. Yeah. That really affects team odds, conference odds, Super Bowl odds. I mean, you name it. It affects it in the market, and J.J. McCarthy will be out for next week. But for Cincinnati and Joe Burrow, they're 2-0. First time in a few years, but he's going to miss 3 months. And how does that affect the team moving forward? Are they now in the market, Kev, for potentially a quarterback like Kirk Cousins?